Welcome to the Fest Live at Manifest. My name is Katie Date, and I am here with Vin D'Amato, Chief Sales Officer at GOFO.
Hi, Katie.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
What a great opportunity. Happy to be
Thank you.
here.
Thank you. So let's get right into it. What are U.S. merchants asking for right now when it comes to parcel delivery and customer experience? And where is the biggest gap between what shippers need and what the market is actually delivering?
There's a handful of items, I'd say. The first one is just, simplicity, right? Just cost predictability, simplicity of the pricing structure. Fewer accessorials, fewer surcharges is a big thing. There's a growing segment of the market that I think at this point is willing to trade off, sort of maybe that Amazon Prime 2-day expectation or more of an expedited fast service for more of a ground type model in exchange for, more rate competitiveness. I think so. Certainly there's a segment that is highly focused on faster transits, but there's also a big segment that is willing to accept a little bit of a trade-off. So I think that's a trend that we're seeing. I think shippers are very keen on analytics, data-driven technology that allows for them to have a deeper understanding of where and how their freight spend is accumulating. So that's certainly a trend, and there's a lot of tech companies that have that have launched, and a lot of great technology, great partners that we work with that can offer those types of things. I think that more than ever, there's a growing receptiveness to maybe some alternative options that are out there on the parcel side that go beyond kind of your legacy nationals. So that's certainly a trend that we're seeing. But there's just a lot of margin pressure, right? There's a lot of margin pressure and initiatives to reduce parcel spend in order to either be more competitive again in their respective segments, or categories, or even just free up more capital to invest in more growth initiatives, promoting their products, their brands, et cetera. And then I think, sort of strong, accurate, and predictable delivery experience for their consumers. I mean, that's paramount, obviously. I think that's probably always been the case and is ever present now in the market. So a few of the challenges that we see most often these days would be maybe a new or emerging fast, high growth brand that maybe doesn't quite have the buying power in the market to gain highly competitive parcel rates, which then impacts obviously their ability to allocate capital towards growth, right? So that's certainly a trend. Another challenge in the on the large enterprise customer side that we see, we're hearing a little bit more of these days is some of these at times very restrictive agreements with the legacy carriers, the legacy players, the legacy nationals, if you will, that prohibit or make it difficult for them to access some of the alternative providers that are much more cost effective and in meaningful ways, in the market.
So GOFO confirmed no service fee increase in 2026. So in simple terms, what makes that possible operationally? And what does holding pricing flat actually mean for merchants day to day?
Right. In terms of the meaning or the impact, I should say, to merchants and, large shippers, or even any shipper really, is that when they can clearly understand what their long-term spend trajectory looks like, it has meaningful impact in other strategic areas of their business, obviously, and it allows for them to just have overall stronger and better planning mechanisms in some of those areas, right? As well as the ability for them to allocate capital towards growth initiatives, obviously. And, rather than some uncertainties, which often is the case in one of the largest cost centers of really any business that ships an actual product.
So from your perspective, what does Zero e-commerce bring to the U.S. market that is most complementary to GOFO's network strength? And what are you prioritizing in 2026 to make onboarding and integration smoother?
Sure. Great question. I think what made this a natural fit and a highly attractive acquisition for GOFO is the fact that, GOFO, we are able to accelerate the local market growth, the U.S.-based shipper and merchants, which is a key strategic initiative for us. And Zero e-commerce had a legacy team, right? That obviously I'm a part of, that brings exceptional knowledge and strength from a commercial and tech perspective, as well as a meaningful existing local customer base, and while ensuring also a seamless transition for those existing accounts, those existing clients, and then our customers will continue to experience the value under GOFO now, right? As we lean heavily into our expansion plans throughout 2026. And then, when you think about customer onboarding, some of the most common and significant friction is around the tech piece, actually, those integrations that the shipper relies upon to access the service provider. These platform partnerships and existing integrations on the CRO e-commerce side that now are part of GOFO, right, allow, from a technical standpoint, a much smoother onboarding process for new GOFO clients that we're onboarding now, where they're able to access these platforms or our service through these platforms without that friction, without waiting in line for an integration to be built, et cetera. So I think there was some natural value there as well.
Great. So if I'm a merchant working with both CRO and GOFO, what should I notice first in 2026 in terms of real improvements to reliability, integrations, or support?
Yeah, well, I think now we're really talking about kind of where the rubber meets the road. And this speaks to our customer experience, which has always been paramount, right? So here at GOFO, formerly CRO e-commerce now, right, we've always really placed a high priority on the quality of service, setting key SLA and KPI expectations internally that are obviously experienced outwardly towards our user base, our customers, if you will, and just making sure that we are the voice of the customer internally. We're exceeding those expectations. But from day one, we've placed a high priority on providing really a highly responsive, almost boutique type customer experience to our customers, right? Because in this business, as we all know, things go wrong, right? It happens all the time. That's the nature of the business, and it's how quickly that we can recover, provide feedback, and how responsive and accessible we are, that make a big difference, right? In our ability to be nimble enough to change an SOP, to initiate corrective action, and just ensure that those issues don't continue to resurface. And that's something that our customers can have experienced and will continue to experience. And then we're very keen to share these metrics internally on an ongoing basis and really hold the stakeholders internal accountable to make sure that we're achieving these KPIs and these SLAs that our customers are really expecting of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely.
I've appreciated learning more and can't wait to see what there is to come.
All right, Katie, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This has been the Fest Live from Manifest.